Hello, my name is John. In this video I'm going to give you an introduction to DeviCloud. DeviCloud is DeviCo's cloud-based data management system for survey data. DeviCloud is a program that runs in your browser, as you may see, and there is no need to install anything on your desktop. DeviCloud has been developed for Google Chrome and Firefox, but should work on all major browsers except Internet Explorer. In DeviCloud, drill holes can be planned and visualized, and the transfer of plans and survey data between the geologist and the field operator is easy and convenient. Survey results become available to the geologist immediately after they have been uploaded, and DeviCloud is therefore a helpful tool for increased efficiency and less errors. Now, before introducing all the details of DeviCloud, we have to look at the hierarchy that DeviCloud organizes the data in. If you go here to this Add button, you see a list of site, project, drill program, and hole. A site typically corresponds to a physical mine site or a construction site. On a site, there may be one or more projects. On a project, there may be one or more drill programs, and on a drill program, there may be one or more holes. Some sites have an enormous amount of drill holes, and it is then convenient to organize the data in all of these entities, to utilize all of them. On other sites, there are just a few holes, and it may be convenient to drop these two middle entities, which you can if you like. So we will now start by creating a site. So I will click on the site symbol, and the first thing I have to do is to specify a name. Our test site. That's the name of our site. Now I'm going to specify a grid offset. The grid offset specifies how much your local coordinate system is rotated relative to the true north coordinate system. The grid offset is going to apply to all the projects, all the drill programs, and all the holes on this site. So it's defined on the site level. I'm specifying it to 0. That means that my local coordinate system is perfectly aligned with the true north coordinate system. And for your information, if you click this information symbol, there is information about what the grid offset actually means. Finally, I specify latitude. In my location it's 63.4, and latitude is used by some of our survey instruments in the processing, so it must be specified for the site. Then I create the site. Then the site has been created, and now I may search for it in, for instance, this search field. So if I just write free text our, and there it is, our test site. Let's have a look. Here we get the site details. It has a name, it has the grid offset we specified, and the latitude. Apart from that, it is for now just an empty container for future data. Now I proceed to add a project. So I can do it here from within the site dashboard, or I can do it here. It's for me more convenient to do it here now. So I add a project, and you see the site name has already been specified, and then we call it our project. Then the project is created, and you see now when I'm back at the site dashboard that there is one project on this site. So let's open it. It belongs to the site, our test site, and it has this name. Apart from that, it is also, for now, an empty container. So now I proceed to make a drill program. Again, I do it from here. And the site and the project have already been determined, and let's call it just our BP. Now I create the drill program. And now on the project details, you find that there is one drill program, the one we just established. And this one is of course also empty for now. So the final thing we need to do is to add a hole. So I add the hole again from this from within the drill program, and I click here. The site, the project, and drill program have been specified. Batch import we'll talk about later. For now we just specified this individual hole. Let's call it our hole. The depth of the hole is actually the length of the hole, and let's say it's 40 meters. The azimuth is defined in your local coordinate system, and 0 defines north, 90 is east, 180 is south, and 270 is west. So let's say this hole has an azimuth direction of 65 degrees. Always specified in the local coordinate system. Inclination has a convention where minus 90 is straight down, plus 90 is straight up, and 0 is horizontal. So let's say that this hole is minus 45 downwards. Northing, easting, and elevation represent the starting coordinates of the hole, where they start. And for my case, I will just put them all to 0. And then I create the hole plan. And now we see that on this drill program, we see now that there is a dash dotted line, which indicates the planned hole that we just defined. I want to say a few words about the ability to edit and change things in DeviCloud. So let's go back to the hole we created. And I realize here that I did an error. I wanted to specify the hole coordinates as 0, 0, 0, but somehow I entered -1 instead on the elevation. So I can edit this by applying the pencil symbol and changing it like that, and save. Editing of hole coordinates, editing of hole plans can be done by those who have the privilege to do so, and we will talk about that later. I want to show you another way of creating holes, and this time I'm going to do it from here. So I'm going to add a hole here. And in this case, you have to choose your site and projects, but I'm going to create the holes on the same site that we just defined, so I'm going to keep this. You may choose to disregard projects and drill programs and just attach the hole directly to the site. In that case, you do like this. And then for planning a large number of holes, the way that we did it with specifying everything individually here is a bit tedious. So if you have, let's say, hundreds of holes, you can do so-called batch import. Batch import, there is an information symbol here describing what it is, and it essentially allows you to fill out all your planned holes in a spreadsheet and drag and drop the spreadsheet into DeviCloud, and then all these holes will be defined. A sample template file on how the spreadsheet looks can be downloaded. Let's have a look at it. There it is, and it looks like this. You have the hole ID, the azimuth, inclination, easting, northing, elevation, and depth. And of course you add as many holes as you like here. Then you save your file somewhere on your desktop, for instance. And when you actually choose the batch import, you drag and drop the file into here, and then all the holes will be imported. In this case, directly onto the site, not associated with any projects or drill programs. One thing that I want to highlight, if I go to the site dashboard again, is the editing of grid offset. We have had some questions about that in the past. So the grid offset, as you know, it applies to the site and everything that is contained on the site, all holes, all surveys, etc. The grid offset is something you specify when you specify the site, and it can be modified only in the planning phase of the site. As soon as you start activities, as soon as you start drilling, as soon as you start surveying, changing the grid offset will cause potential domino effects that are really unwanted. So if I click here, I do get a warning about this. And if you want to change the grid offset, it's only in the planning phase, before any activities have started, that the geologist can do it. After that, it should not be changed at all. If you find that you did put in the wrong grid offset, it's better to establish a new site and take it from there. This site that we now created, our test site, it was created by me, and by default I am the only one who can see this site. The point of a large point of DeviCloud is actually data sharing between the geologist and the field operators. So in order to invite other people into this site and let them do the drilling and the survey on the planned holes that I have defined, I click here, I manage the access control. And then you see here there are no users listed here. There is no one. There is only me. I'm not on the list. I'm implicit since I am the creator of the site. So now I can select users that I want to share the data with. And I have a list of users that you can see here, and I can share with them. So let's say I share with my colleague. I want him to see this site, and then I select the permission type. Here you have read access only, upload, meaning that you can upload surveys from the field. Modify is where you can change hole parameters, such as, for instance, move the hole, change its directions, its color coordinates. Delete allows you to delete both individual surveys, sites, drill programs, everything from the site and downwards. And admin is the ability to add and remove users from the list of users with access to the site. So that's the way it works. And when I've set the permission level, let's say I set upload for him, and then I just add the access, and he then has the access. The other point that should be mentioned here is that this list of users, it's a limited list of users. It's not all the users, not everyone who has signed up with a DeviCloud account. All of these users that I can share with are organized in a company entity. And let's have a look at that. If you go up here and behind your initials and select your user profile, you see that I am affiliated with one company. It's called DeviCo. And by clicking it, you can see the users that come into that company, that are organized in that company, and these are the users that I can share data with. I cannot share data with anyone else. And then there is a thing here called user groups, and these are a set of users, a subset of users from this company organized in various user groups. So when you sign up to DeviCloud, DeviCo has to approve your sign up, and DeviCo assists in organizing you into the correct company. And those are the people that you can share data with. But as I have shown you, just because you have the ability to share data does not mean that it happens by default. You have actually to make the active choice. And then if we go now to, let's say, our project, you can choose to add access to the project only, not on the site level, similar for drill programs and so on. It is convenient to provide access on the site level if you can. In DeviCloud, you have the ability to change some user-defined settings. By default, for instance, here on our planned hole, the units are given in meters, for instance. Temperatures are given in Celsius by default. And I also have some status tags here, active, archived, for instance. And I can change some of these things via my settings. So, settings, you find them here. And here you make your choice for feet or meter, Celsius or Fahrenheit. In the Site Explorer, the way I have it now is that I have my site here and then my project underneath the site, and then if I expand, also the drill program. I may change this and instead just select to see the holes directly underneath the site. It's a choice of how you want to see things. Here there is an ability to hide inactive objects from the Site Explorer, and the purpose of that is that you may have historic surveys, historic holes that you're not really that interested in anymore, and if you hide them, if you choose to activate this and let's say a hole is marked as archived, the hole will no longer appear when you do your search. So all inactive objects vanish from the search and from the Site Explorer. Finally, there is the delete option. Firstly, you need to have a privilege to enable to do delete. And secondly, even if you have the privilege to do delete, you actively need to enable the choice. So if I go to the site dashboard and I can show you, here there is currently apparently no way to delete anything. There is no delete button. But if I go to the settings and enable delete, and then I go back to the site dashboard, you see to the bottom now that I can actually delete the entire site with all data on it. So it's good practice to have this button not enabled at all time in order to avoid accidental deletes. The next I want to show you is the help menu. You find it up here. And it basically gives you access to a lot of tutorial videos and information. Tips and tricks on how to do things. Here you have videos on DeviCloud itself. You have some DeviJaro videos on how to do various stuff. Same for DeviAligner. And these videos can give you many of the answers that you may be looking for. Finally, over here there is support documentation. And that's the help menu. I want to show you some of the interaction between DeviCloud and the Android application that the field operator sees. In order to do that, I have pulled in the Android phone here and open up the DeviJaro application. So the first thing that we want to do is to make sure that the hole that we have defined and this site that we have defined is synced down into the DeviJaro app, such that the field operator can either drill the hole or do surveys on it. And the way to do it is to click on this upper left 3-bar symbol and hit the DeviCloud option. Now I am taken to a DeviCloud page on the phone. I'm already logged in because the phone remembers me. You may have to log in if you've not done it before. And now I'm just going to hit the download button. And now I'm actually fetching down all the new plans, the new holes that I have access to into the Android application. So now it tells me that the whole data has been updated, and I can simply press the back button. Let's now try to do a simulated survey and see if we can find this hole and export the result back to DeviCloud. And this thing that I'm going to do now is it's a very convenient thing to play a bit around with the instrument and the app in order to familiarize yourself with how things work. So now I'm connected to the instrument, and I'm going to start a survey and a new one. And the app suggests the site and hole that was last surveyed on, which is not the site and hole I want to survey on now. So if I press this line, I'm taken to a site selector page, and I select the page, and I'm going to see, you see down here, there is the site called our test site, and that's exactly the site that we have defined. So I'm going to select that one, and you see here there is only one hole, and that's the name of our hole. So select that one and OK. So now back to the application. The survey that we are about to conduct will be associated to the correct site and the correct hole. It's going to have this name. It's just a default suggested name that you may change if you want. It has pre-filled the correct starting direction. This one corresponds to the starting direction defined for the hole. And it has pre-filled the latitude that was defined for the site. So the only thing remaining here for the field operator is to choose whether he uses the Devi counter or not, and also to choose what centralizer setting he's using. I am going to go with the Devi counter. So I'm selecting that one, and then I'm going to start. And then the instrument connects to the Devi counter. And then I'm going to do the survey. So the assumption now is that the instrument is sitting in the color of the hole, and I simply just start the recording. You have to obey the initial standstill, very important. And then I start spinning my Devi counter to simulate that my instrument is running into the hole. And let's say I'm happy at this point. This is the depth I want to survey to, so I press stop recording. There is the standstill at the end of the hole, or end of the survey. And now I'm also going to survey the outrun, survey on the way out. So I select new survey. And I just keep the outrun in the same hole and the same survey name, and select OK. Press start recording. And there is the initial standstill of the outrun. And now I survey on the way out. And then I'm back at the color, and I choose to stop the recording. There's a standstill. And after that, I'm going to download the data from the instrument to the handheld unit. I press stop survey, and I'm going to download. And then I have the QA report that appears in the phone. We're not going to look at that here, we're just going to look at the export options now. So I have an export option here that I may click. And you may, of course, in this case, export directly back to DeviCloud. I'm not going to do that here because I want to show you something else. So I just click cancel, go back here, and I'm going to do the export from the results page. You see here on the top here, this is the survey that we just did. The orange cloud here indicates that the survey was done on a hole that was imported into the app from DeviCloud, but the survey result has not yet been exported back. So once we do the export, it's going to turn green. So I can do that by long pressing the survey name and then hit export up here. And of course choose DeviCloud. And then the survey name is here, it's going to go to our hole, and I simply hit export. And that's it. The data has now been exported, and you see now that the cloud symbol becomes green, indicating that it has been uploaded to DeviCloud. You see the surveys down here with cloud symbols that have no color but just a slanted line over them. This indicates that these surveys have been conducted on holes that are only defined in the Android application. They have not been synced down from DeviCloud. It was a hole defined by the field operator in the Android application. You may need to do a survey even though the hole has not been defined in DeviCloud, so this is a realistic scenario. What I want to show you is that you can still export these type of surveys also to DeviCloud. So if we choose now, let's say this survey, I long press it and I hit the export button, and I choose DeviCloud. So now I have two options. I can either hit this select button, and by doing that it gives me the ability to choose the hole that I want to export this to. But of course that assumes that the field operator knows already about what that hole, what name it will have in DeviCloud. If he does not know these details, he may simply hit export directly, and that's what I want to show you right now. So I simply hit export. And you see the notification here that these data that have now been sent, they are not sent to a particular hole in DeviCloud, so they will be sent to upload and inspect. So it means that you will find them up here. The data will be found here. And from there we can reassign the survey to the correct hole if we like. Okay, let's look at the survey that we just uploaded to DeviCloud. And you see here there are some survey results here, and just to remind you, if I go back here, this is the one that we just exported. It has the time tag 1136. And it is the one that we see here on the two first lines here. So we can have a look at this survey, and you see here something that you see firstly the in-run and the out-run separately drawn, and it looks like a very large difference in azimuth, but the scale is quite small here, so it's relatively okay. Details on how to look at surveys is of course of interest. Now you can look at the QA reports, for instance, for these two surveys. And it comes up with a detailed description on how the survey went, and green colors mean that the in-run and the out-run surveys agree well and tell essentially the same story. And you have some plots on how the in-run azimuth was and how the outrun azimuth was, and then of course the average as the full line in the middle. Same for inclination. There is also graphs. You can look more in more detailed way on what has been collected. You can look at all sorts of things here. Inclination, for instance, the gravity vector, if you want to look at that, the serving speed, all sorts of things. And you also have table view. And for the table view, you have the in-run as one and the outrun as another, and of course you also have the average that you can export. The QA report can be downloaded, and let's just have a look at how we do it. You can click here, in which case the QA report becomes a Excel file that you can that you download, and let's have a look at it. It looks pretty much similar to what you see in DeviCloud, only it's in Excel format. So the first tab, you have sort of the front page of the QA report, and second tab here you have the in-run, you have the outrun, and you have the average survey data. The other option is to export these tables directly, and you have a couple of different export formats: CSV, SERPEX string, datamine string that you can export. In the table view, you have the ability to change the order of the columns here if you like, and you can also take away columns if you like. Let's say that you're not interested in the gravity tool face speed, for instance, in which case you just pull it out and it's out of the export. You can also rearrange the order here. If you like the spreadsheet that you get to have different ordering, you can do that. And finally, you can of course reset the columns back to default if you want that. That's it on the survey side. And in the 3D view, observe now that we have the plan here, the dash dotted line as a plan, and we have a couple of surveys here, a couple of in-runs and outruns that exist on these holes and are visualized. Now let's look at the upload and inspect tab that we have here and see if the survey that we uploaded, it was this survey here, the 1.1 survey, and you see it has found its way into the upload and inspect folder. So from this point, the survey can be found and it can be assigned to the hole that you would like. And at this point I may define an entirely new site, an entirely new hole, and then assign this survey onto that site. Observe that the upload and inspect area in DeviCloud is personal, in the sense that it cannot be seen by anyone else. It's only your user that sees this. So unless you reassign the surveys to the correct holes, they will reside here and only be visible to you. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out.